Welcome to Neck and Balance, a holistic approach to alleviating neck pain. I'm Dr. Tina Schaffner, a physical therapist at Neil King Physical Therapy, here to give you a better understanding of managing your neck pain and the struggles that you may have throughout the day with neck soreness or tension. The neck is made up of 7 small muscles, with a head that sits on top that weighs about 10 to 12 pounds. Your activities throughout the day can definitely lend to stress around those joints, whether you're sitting too long, playing activities, on your phone too long, or even just at work and using the computer. We're going to go over some different activities today to help alleviate that stress and hopefully alleviate some of that neck pain. Right now, we're going to go over some different stretching and actually just mobilizing how you get those joints in the neck moving. Joints don't get good nutrition from blood supply, therefore they need movement. These activities are going to get some movement into those neck joints, help open them up, and get some good nutrition. We're going to start with chin tucks. So, chin tucks are the first one. This is my coworker, Amy. She is the clinic director at the Troy location. First thing she's gonna do is look straight down, and the goal of the chin tuck is just to activate these muscles that are deep in the front of her throat. And then she's gonna come back up to the horizontal. So you notice this isn't a very big movement, it's small. Eyes are straight ahead, and then she's gonna bring those eyes almost down close to her knees. But in all cases, her head really doesn't come forward. Her ears stay in alignment with her shoulders. Because the purpose of this chin tuck, like I said, is to strengthen the muscles in the front of the neck, but also open up these small joints in the back that are really controlled by our vision and make very small head movements to control what we're looking at. With all of these exercises, we're going to do 5-second holds, 5 to 10 repetitions. Next one we're going to do is full neck flexion and full neck extension. Very similar to what we might have done in yoga with a full forward fold. We can do the same thing to the head and neck. So she's gonna start one segment at a time, folding her neck forward. In this case, the ear will come forward of the neck, of the shoulders, because she is moving each one of these joints. And then on the way back up, she's gonna stack each joint back up onto itself, and then she can look all the way up towards the ceiling. So this is the extension portion. Once again, going up one segment at a time, each one of those 7 joints moving. And then as she rolls forward and going into flexion, she can each one of those 7 segments moving again. When people are going through the extension, I a lot of times will tell them, make sure they keep their mouth closed or keep their tongue to the roof of their mouth, because we want to get a stretch through all of these front neck muscles and some of them attached to the jaw. The other thing we want to avoid is that head slouching backwards too far. It creates a shearing action at the joints that is not good for the neck joints. You only need to go up as high as you can if you're looking at the ceiling without letting your head fall backwards. And then once again, going forward one segment at a time. Next one we're gonna do is rotation. So Amy's just gonna turn her head and look over her shoulder. Amy did this great. She kept her eyes on the horizontal. A cheat is oftentimes to drop that head off the back. We're no longer rotating. We're really compressing the joints on that side. So we can look over one shoulder, come back to center, and then she can look at me. And if you notice, Amy does a great job of getting taller as she does that. So she's rotating, and she's getting taller as she rotates. That helps decompress those joints and really pump some fluid in and out of those joints for the good nutrition. One more time towards me. Last thing you can see, she's also staying straight here. The rotation her head is not pulling her whole body with her, it's just her head. For the next one, we're gonna have Amy face forward, and we're gonna go over side bending. So when she side bends, she really wants to make sure that she's moving one segment at a time, not just letting the whole head kind of kilter from the bottom, which is what we see all the time. So what she's gonna do is she's just gonna start and rotate that one segment as she tilts her head to one side. A lot of times I tell people to listen to the ceiling. They're really trying to eavesdrop on the ceiling. And then come back to center. As with the rotation, she is also getting taller as she does this movement. She's working into lengthening these structures on the side of the neck as she moves one segment at a time. Good, come on back to center. 5 to 10 second holds on each one. Go ahead and rotate side bend to the right again for me. As she really gets some good length in between her neck and her shoulder and then comes back. Once again, these are range of motion exercises just to get these joints moving. There are a lot of muscles that attach to the neck and to the shoulder blade. So one of the movements that you can do, if you've been stuck sitting all day and what really gets into this forward head posture, this slunked in posture, to open up the chest is to do shoulder blade squeezes. We call them scapula sets, but all she's doing is bringing those shoulders together in the back. So we'll have Amy turn sideways, and you'll really be able to see that if you've been sitting in that forward head posture, get that length back in your trunk, squeeze the shoulder blades together, holding 5 seconds, and then let them relax. Yep, one more time. Squeeze them together. Right. Sometimes people don't always feel the best after rotation or after different type of mobility exercises, but they really need to activate the muscles. What we're gonna do is go over the neck isometrics, meaning she's gonna apply some resistance to her neck without actually moving any joints. In many cases, these are sufficient to strengthen people's necks. Unless you're involved in wrestling, football, some alternative sports where someone really is grabbing onto your head and pulling, this is all you need to do to strengthen your neck. Amy can put her hand on either side of her head and give a gentle pressure. She is pushing hard enough to make the muscles work, but not so hard that it moves her head. So if she turns to the front, you can see if she pushes just with her left hand, she's applying a force to the right, trying to push her head to the right, but her neck is staying really still. She's keeping the length in her trunk and keeping good posture throughout the whole way. She can change where she puts her hands to apply a different resistance to different muscles. We have muscles that go all the way around the neck. So when she pushes to the front here, it's working the neck muscles in the front. When she applies to the back of her head, she's going after those muscles that are in the back of her head. But once again, she's holding her head still and applying that pressure. 5 to 10 second holds, 5 to 10 repetitions. What we're gonna do in this next segment is talk about some stretches. So while we talked about range of motion things to get the joint moving, those are really focused around getting the joints moving. Now we're gonna talk about getting some more of the soft tissue, the fascia, the muscles. Those are what our stretch is for. We're gonna talk first about the upper trap stretch. That is a muscle that goes from the base of the head to outside of the shoulder. Now, the trapezius muscle as a whole comes from the head to the shoulder, down into the mid-back. But we're just gonna focus on this upper trap part. So you can see Amy sat on her hand. The reason why she sat on her hand or grabs the bottom of her chair is it stabilizes the shoulder blade. So now from the front, same thing, she's sitting on this hand, keeping this still, and she's still using that segmental motion that we used before to get that length in the upper trap. You can hold these stretches for 5 to 10 seconds, 30, or even up to 30 seconds or more. For some people, frequency is more important than duration, meaning a 5-second hold multiple times throughout the day might be more effective for you than 30 seconds of a stretch once a day. You just need to play with those numbers to see what works for you. The next stretch is gonna be for what's called the levator scapula. So, same thing, she's gonna sit on that hand to stabilize the shoulder blade. This time she's gotta turn. So she's gotta turn the opposite direction and look down. The cheat will be to kind of slouch through your whole posture, but we're gonna keep seeking that length through our trunk the entire time as she rotates and then looks down at the opposite shoulder. Now the stretch is going from the base of the head into these upper cervical joints down to the corner of the shoulder blade. And that's where you will feel the stretch. She's keeping that chin tuck, once again moving segmentally. Now let's show it on this side. So if Amy goes to the whole other direction, same thing, sit on her hand. She's gonna tip and rotate towards me, and she'll get a stretch on this left side into the levator scapula. Once again, from these upper neck muscles, right to the tip of that shoulder. One more is gonna be the scalenes. The scalenes are a tricky muscle to stretch. They're small muscles of the neck, and so you need to be technical when you're doing this stretch. Amy does a great job of putting her fingers behind her ear, and her other hand is near her collarbone. All she's done is gently tilt her head away, and she can rub those fingers until they go all the way down her neck to the collarbone, and then she can move and rotate through her head. There's an anterior, middle, and posterior scalene. So to get all three of them, you need to adjust the rotation of your head. Because they stop at the collarbone or the first rib or into these upper ribs, it is important that those areas stay stable. But you can see as she moves her head in different directions, she'll get a different stretch. These are often overlooked muscles. The importance of keeping them lengthened is that nerves run right between them. And if those muscles get too tight, it can cause nerve compression, which results in numbness and tingling down to your hands. Just as we did in other segments, we're going to show you how to open up your chest. So we've talked about the scapula squeeze. So you can just squeeze the shoulder blades together and that might be enough for you. But you can also do a chest opener. So Amy brings her hands into like a W position. Bring those shoulder blades back. Or she can reach her hands behind her back, all the time staying lengthened through her trunk and reaching towards the floor to get a stretch and an open across the front of her chest. Now let's talk a little bit about posture. We oftentimes, gravity just takes over and we fall into this slumped posture. Nobody can stay perfect all day. And it actually is important to have this mobility because as we've discussed in this video and others, that movement, the joints need movement to have nutrition. We just don't want to stay there. The goal is to always restore that length to the trunk, which Amy has done wonderfully here. She's gone from that forward head, really slumped posture, to now where she's restored the length in the front and the back of her neck, front and back of her chest, and her lumbar spine. Relative to the neck though, it's the ears in line with the shoulders. We want to make sure that that head doesn't get too far forward as we're maybe straining to see the screen if the text is too small. Or if we're trying to get closer to our phone. We want to always bring that head back up in alignment, achieve that length, and it might be even a little bit of a chin tuck, as we've taught earlier in the segments. From here too, keeping those shoulder blades nice and together. Now, shoulder blades will never stand you upright, but they should rest comfortably on your upper back. So once again, going back to that length, always keeping that head reaching towards the sky will help get those shoulder blades in the right position. Some things you can do to avoid getting into that slouch posture are limiting your screen time. It might mean that you take a 20-second break every 20 minutes and just stand up and sit down. Simply changing your gaze and what you're looking at will help pull you out of that forward head posture, alleviating the strain, and you being much more comfortable working on your screens or whatever you need to do for the rest of your day. Thank you for joining me with Neck and Balance. By incorporating these exercises, stretches, and posture tips, you can improve your daily routine. You can take control of your neck pain and enhance your overall well-being. Remember, consistency is key. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more videos on improving your health. I'll see you next time.